Hey, it's Tweeter's Digest, the preferred podcast of Chads everywhere. Episode 3, Nina is an incorrigible lad. Hi, Nina. Thank you so
Hello.
much. Yeah, thank you so much for taking the time to talk with me today.
Like, what a treat. You're so welcome.
The feeling is mutual. So before we get into the stuff, I would first love to know, what have you been up to lately?
Lately I've been having a holiday. Like I've been like really embracing the concept of like a holiday as a freelancer because usually it's just like, oh, I'm still kind of like half got an eye on work or still like running around like a blue ass fly. I have been fully indulging in eating meat, having like double naps, like not exercising 7 times a week. It's been a real treat. And now, I mean, today, I've got the motor going again. So I have been did some work yesterday. That was quite nice and quite a lot of exercise. So I'm not going to lie to you. I'm going to spend most of our podcast call time moisturizing and stretching because I'm aching like an absolute bastard.
Oh, that's lovely. Yeah. I mean, I ought to do more stretching myself so I can,
Right,
you
we
know,
can join in. Right,
yeah,
roll your
yeah.
shoulders.
Take some tips from you.
Ah,
All right, shoulders. Okay.
okay, start with our shoulders.
Excellent. All right. I
Oh,
will try to mimic you as we go here.
all right, great.
But yeah, I have your tweets and I'm going to read one right now. On September 26th, 2016, you tweeted, "Heavy weekend? Need to give your skin a boost? Indulge in a hashtag steam cleanse by standing over your bacon in the hot griddle. Ha- hashtag beauty hacks."
uh, oh, great. Oh, it's such a treat when past you like really cracks you up. Bitch has still got it. Great. I was clearly having a really wonderful day.
Yeah, it's quite the creative hack.
Oh, what a scratter.
I personally might be worried about bacon grease on the skin, perhaps, but
Yeah. I
doesn't
mean, like,
deter you.
it's not so much of a like that's more of a smoke cleanse than a steam cleanse. I thought that was going in the direction of like, being like, right, this is your Romford Spa. It is standing over the kettle while like your builder's tea is getting going, although I drink Earl Grey because I'm fancy. So the bacon though, yeah. Christ, where was I? Am I okay to swear, by the way? Because I realise I've got a mouth like a sailor. So
Yes, yes, of course, you're okay to swear.
lessons. All right. All right, ask a question because I'm mostly just like a little bit mortified that I was all about that bacony cleanse and I've just been here trying to be a vegan and then Christmas happened and like that was really I had meat yesterday, it was beautiful.
Hmm. Yeah, I would just love to know if you have any other beauty hacks you'd love to share.
Right now, okay, listeners, have you got and you too, Loops, have you got any moisturizer with you?
Yeah, but I did just wash my face this morning, but I can go grab some more.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, get something you can do your arms with. We're gonna beauty hack our arms.
All right, just a second.
My mother outlaw, yeah, that's what we're going to call her. The outlaw has given me a load of thick moisturizer.
I've got
Hello.
it. Yeah.
The audience at home doesn't get to see how glorious your hair is looking, though. Like, there's another time we'll do a beauty hack on your beautiful, beautiful mane.
Well, they can imagine it. All right, I have this refreshing anti-aging, pore perfecting, wild rose cream for normal to oily skin.
Oh, okay, we're doing our face. All right, all right. Well, if it's small, then it's just like a little blob,
Right.
and then basically a beauty hack is just like just get it between your fingers and between your hands. Get your hands nice and warm. And then like it's just a treat of like slapping it on your skin, isn't it? Like, okay, now put it on your face.
Not
There
a
we go. Yeah, on
literal.
the face. Yeah.
Mhm.
You can't see anything. And then you just wipe it down and then wipe it up. And oh my God.
Okay.
Oh,
So Nina is sort of rubbing her hands over her entire face, forehead and
over the
cheeks,
entire face. Yeah.
down, around, back up.
Oh, and then just like little circles.
Okay.
Oh,
Circles
yeah.
around from forehead to cheeks again, down
All
to
over the
chin.
jaw, up the nose bridge. Oh, and just like it's just an excuse to, well, one, touch yourself, but just give yourself a midday, like middle of the day. Oh, I guess it's morning for you, isn't it? Like good
Hmm.
old jaw massage, because like who doesn't like that?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Oh, okay. That's not so much a beauty hack as a congratulations, your pores are going to thank you. But
Hmm.
I don't know what else about beauty hacks.
The basics are important, so good to remember
Yeah.
those.
I mean, the beauty hacks I find are like, what is it? Eat your vegetables, do exercise, be kind. And like suddenly everyone's like, oh my God, you're beautiful. And you're like,
Hmm.
you're welcome. It's a capsicum pepper and a few weights, actually.
Yeah, yeah, the boring stuff. I mean, it's important too. It's not very sexy, just like, hey, get 7 or 8 hours of sleep if you can. But it's hard enough to do on its own, so it's, worth mentioning.
Yeah. Yeah, I've been last year I spent a lot of time thinking about morning rituals, and then probably got high, I won't lie, and was like, wait, but what about the nighttime rituals? Because I have tolerably good sleep hygiene. In fact, I think I have pretty good sleep hygiene insofar as my phone gets launched over the other side of the room or is in a different room entirely. But because I move around so much, like my bed is often different, like, you know, not every week, but most weeks it's different. So yeah, there's the sleep hygiene of like, how do you get settled, how do you feel at home and settled to sleep, and like do your nighttime practice. Like my morning practice I've got down, but the kind of like the lovely juicy nighttime practice where I'm like, I like you so much, I fancy you so much that we're going to moisturize, we're going to listen to an audio book, and then we're going to like snuggle down for bed and get like really excited. Like, I'm staying with one of my partners at the moment, and like they honestly, they're quite like, the problem with going to sleep with me is I get into bed and I'm so excited to be there that I start giggling, and like there's suddenly like this high rush of excitable energy, and they're like, okay, usually this train is like for more sleepy passengers, but yeah, getting into bed, man, it's like it's a whole ritual in itself.
I wonder if something like an object, if you have like maybe a stuffed animal or something that just reminds you like this is, part of my bedtime ritual, like a physical thing
Yeah,
could help with that.
yeah. I started to I had a go at being quite prescriptive about my night practice, and I called it a night practice rather than like, bro, you're just going to bed, like stop dressing it up, you're not that much of a hippie. But had a go at being like, no, this is a thing. So I give it more like focus, time and attention. And I would yeah, so I would train both ends of the day. So the night or the evening training, I would then this is like physical training, I would then hop in a cold shower, and at the other side would crack on a audiobook for like half an hour, but that half an hour was to be spent not looking at my iPad that's playing the audiobook and my phone miles away, but to be like there with like a whack of coconut oil, and my entire body just got a full moisturize and massage, which I found was incredibly indulgent and great for the week that I kept it up. And then was like, oh, for the love of God. Like, and then I moved apartments again. So that kind of like, I was in shared accommodation, or I was back with my folks, or I was staying with a partner or whatever. So that was a good week where I was like really like thinking about like kind of like a DJ set, going like, okay, I'm really good at building the energy, keeping it going, but like I'm really bad. I don't ever do the end of the night set because I'm like, come on, let's like bring the energy, let's keep it going, because it feels amazing. And it's very, very naughty. It's a very bad DJ like habit, or human habit, not to also consider like the climb down. So, but I was very kind of like, okay, what's the thing that then brings you down from the intensity of like massage? And it's like, oh, you just lie back and like meditate and drift off into like nothingness. So yeah, that was a good week. That was in August, and we're now in January. So
Hmm. Yeah, like 4% of your weeks, not terrible.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I've called myself this a few times on Twitter where I'm just like, I'm just a freelance layabout. Like I definitely do work. I definitely like I'm kept busy with like one thing or another. Like sometimes I get to call myself a working artist rather than like a nobber with a pen. But like this is I do have a lot of time just to play, which I feel incredibly grateful for. So
Okay, yeah, thank you. Let's speaking of playing, maybe let's move on.
great, beautiful segue. I'm so ready.
Maybe. So on November 21st, 2020, you tweeted, business idea, cunt, fries, and coffee. A brothel, but chill.
Can you read that again, please?
Business idea, cunt, fries, and coffee. A brothel, but chill.
I mean, I'll stand by it. Like, that sounds fantastic.
Nina, when I first found this tweet, I couldn't stop laughing. It was an ab exercise. I was enthralled by this tweet. Do I
I
have
mean,
a
go
Go
on, go on,
ahead.
go on, go on.
No,
I
please.
need more from you on this one.
I was just thinking out loud. Do I have a question? Do I want to say more about this? Um, we could brainstorm about what are other facets of a chill brothel besides the breakfast
uh,
accommodations.
Pay your workers. Everyone's pretty happy then. Um, that's got like a real texture to it, like cunt fries and coffee. That's I would have been with someone very specific when I came up with that idea. I wonder if I was with a girl and we were like, I don't mean getting up to the nasty, doing the nasty, but so much as like one of my girls with which we are both incorrigible lads, and so just being a bit gross. The fries parts is interesting because I'm not really a chips eater. But like maybe I was feeling incredibly accommodating and being like, right, what do people like? And like people like fries. But I've long had this idea that I would love to run a brothel. Like I would love to partner up with someone like one of my like girlfriends that like friends that are girls. I know in America you call that a thing, but like to team up and be like, okay, this is your strip club, this is your brothel. Like I've long thought I would run an excellent brothel. She says with no experience of like being in brothels or like doing any sex work particularly, like, but I'm still convinced that I would be a really good like madam. Possibly because I'd have no problem telling like boys off if they behaved badly, but yeah, I don't think I've got anything profound to say other than like sounds great, I'm in, let's go.
Yeah, that does sound great. Like especially like the paying your workers part. I would think the only thing that comes to mind for me is just like replicating aspects of like a spa retreat, like deep tissue massages, facials, so to
Yeah.
speak.
But wait.
Yeah, yeah. This was
No, come on, you've got to go because I've been chatting a lot here, and I'm also just being like, I'm so curious what the heck that. I'm thinking about getting my calendar up to try and figure out who I was hanging out with. Do you mind?
yeah. November 21st, 2020 is when this
Right,
glorious idea was birthed.
2020. Okay. Well, I mean, this is one of the reasons it's so good to be like, I have to color code all of my like calendar time because they're just, moving around a lot, working different jobs, different people, and also different countries. So you're hanging out with different folks. But it looks like I was in London. We were getting ready. We were getting ready to ship out for Exodus for Lisbon. Oh, and there's a oh my God. Right, I know exactly. Yeah, so I was hanging out with my friend. I think she wouldn't mind me saying that she is a sex worker, and we were just talking about like, okay, what's ideal working environments? She was like, we would have just been like, I think we were having coffee. I think we were lying in my bed. Yeah, and we weren't eating fries. I think we just made loads of food because it was one of those weekends where like you just get one of your girls over. Sorry, I get one of the girls over, and we just like basically are in our pants all weekend, like kind of making out, kind of like not, just being quite bi girls that like each other. And yeah, we were just rolling around the house, and then just like either in the kitchen or lying all over each other in bed, or like, do you want to get the tea? All right, I'll make a pot of coffee. Like, oh, thanks for that memory. I'm going to message her.
Yeah, you're welcome. Okay. Thank you for giving me copious laughter a few days ago.
You're so welcome.
Yeah. Next tweet. On March 30th, 2021, you tweeted, most Chad thought to date. I wonder who I could invite on an 8-minute/K run around Lisbon to chat about meaningless/somatic exploration to move beyond woke/mission culture. Form an orderly queue/slide into my DMs.
Yeah, I'm so grateful to Twitter for introducing me to the concept of the Chad. I haven't really paid any attention to what the Virgin is, but like the Chad, I'm just there like, oh my God, I found my people. Yeah, man, it's like I stand by that. I absolutely love training with people. I mean, I'm an incredibly social creature. Like, I've just come to accept that. I've tried all sorts of like silent meditations and silent retreats and kind of like really long silent missions or solo missions. But ultimately, I just fucking love hanging out with people and playing games. It's sick. Like, having friends is mint. So, like, and then it's just a game of like, okay, what fun weird thing can we do now? And like, it's been such a treat to meet the crowd on Twitter, because it's like, oh my God, this is incredibly smart, like astonishingly hot, like interesting people that are keen on having a body. And so there's not like it's not like you can only be in this club if you're like really fit, and I like not British fit, I mean as in like fit and strong, healthy. It's like, oh, you can come if you're curious, like you'll hang with us because you're curious, and we just keep this train moving. We're curious, like fun people, like fun creatures. So discovering that it's optional, that you get to go to the gym or like exercise, but you can do it in a pace where you don't have to like, I mean, I train pretty hard because I love endorphins and, moving a lot, but I love training with people because there's a kind of sense of like pacing, and it's like, okay, you're sharing this moment, and it's not fun if one of you is like wildly outstripped, or like you share it and you kind of like pace it for however works for the group or the pair of you. And I absolutely love this idea of like, yeah, okay, let's like do some exercise so we're feeling right good, but also let's like ponder stuff, because I've like, I try not to spend too much time on my phone in the gym, but because I've, got my tunes going and I'm doing my thing. But like I had one of my favorite big thoughts as a thread where I actually kind of like was able to have a linear like stream of thoughts rather than just like, my usual scattergun approach to thinking. Because I was Bird of Play had like ventured this idea that whenever I hit Chicago, that we'd go for a cycle along the waterfront. And it was like a 8-mile there and 8 miles back. And I hadn't been on a bike for time. It was like coming up to a year. And no, 6 months. And like, I was like, shit, I don't even know if I could cycle that. So I headed up to Porto. All right, I'm fully going to flex here. I'd met a lovely person in Porto, and I was like, I would like to go and see them again. So I popped up to Porto. They like classically, honestly, poly people, we're just a nightmare for scheduling. They'd forgotten that they had to go and do something. So I was like, that's fine, I'll go to the gym. And I headed over to the gym and I jumped on the cycle machine. And the space, that because you're sitting down, I was like, oh my God, my hands are free. And, I have to have all of me engaged, otherwise it's all going to fall apart. But I can't remember what the thread was, but it was like, I was able to have like a 10 tweet thread or more where I was just like having thoughts. And I was like, this is sick. Like exercising, but it being a really cool, like meditational, like an experience where I can actually think through stuff rather than my only thoughts are on push harder, keep going, girl, you've got this, oh my God, hot girls, here we come. Like it was like, oh no, I'm just keeping a good pace going, that on the cycle machines, that I can like still have all these like opinions and kind of craft some thoughts and think through some stuff that are original to me. So this is, I guess, everyone that's listening to this is a renewed, like, if you want to go for a run or like dick around, we did a London meetup, like a Twitter meetup in the summer. We've got another one come up in couple of weeks or a week or so. But I was like, lads, can we bring a ball? And it was really fun because it was like Twitter crew, but then also kicking a ball around, and like no one has a bad time kicking a ball. So so yeah, chatting, like being full chat is my favorite.
Yeah, I can tell.
Yeah, Nina, you sort of outed yourself there as like quite into exercise and thinking things. Yeah, sorry about that.
That occurred to me the first 2 seconds we first ever started chatting. uh, yeah, that's very cool. I have heard that idea before, that sort of moving the body can really kickstart the brain into
Yeah.
putting together ideas or thinking about things that wouldn't otherwise come to mind just being sedentary.
Come on then, checking on your shoulders. I haven't seen you like move your shoulders around. We're doing like you're doing at the desk. I'm like rolling around on a mattress. So it's just, yeah, very nice. Up above your head, lean it down at the body. Oh, very nice.
Yeah, and I know these are kind of big topics you mentioned, but if you had any sort of main ideas or things you've learned about meaningness or moving beyond woke and mission culture you'd like to share, I'd love to hear it.
Oh yeah, there was like a specific thing in there, wasn't there? It's basically, I mean, I try and not get mission. I've noticed there's a tendency to get quite missiony about meaningless because it feels like so bang on that it's like, oh, meaningless is the way, the truth, the light. And then you go, wait, hang on. This has got texture. This has got a texture of a mission. Oops. So I've tried to be a bit chill about meaningless, but
Wait,
I
Nina,
really like how the whole thing is like, go on, come.
I was going to ask, like, if maybe you were about to do it, could you define meaningless just briefly for me and maybe audience members who don't know
Oh
what that is?
yeah. So meaningless was a word that was come up with by a lovely chap called David Chapman, who I hope, where are we in January? I hope he's still got his moustache because oh my god, he looks lovely with it. And he posits that basically the way to like trundle through life, also the way he came up with this was because he fancied a bisexual girl. And he was like, right, I'm going to write some philosophy to impress her, which is, as a fellow bisexual, I was like, right, okay, this really is the truth, the way, and the light. Like, so, and the position is, the way to like trundle through life is just to like horizon scan on a fairly regular basis to be like, okay, what is here to do that is useful and enjoyable? And just at any one given moment when you're kind of like faced with a decision, be like, okay, what's useful, what's enjoyable? And I just found like, there's a wicked chick on called Seeker 3000. She's called Jess, and she led a reading group in last Michaelmas, so Michaelmas like 2020, where we read the meaningless book together. And basically I then just like the first chapter is like setting out this like, right, what's enjoyable, what's useful. And I was so sold that I was like, cool, I get it, I'm going to move on. But the crowd was like mwah. So I hung around just for the vibes in the chat, and like would end up like just drawing while everyone was doing like the esteemed chatting. But it's just, I just find it a really easeful, interesting way to approach stuff. And I guess so one I made a really good friend out of that called Victory Cast, and we have subsequently been like, okay, what is the nature of then the like, not to like over post about this, but be like, okay, what is the nature of useful, what is the nature of enjoyable, right? And it's like, because I then moved to Lisbon, and that was a lot of tattoo fun. It was very hard work, but for like very high gains. And I've been enjoying the kind of like, okay, well, the game is like what's enjoyable, what's useful, and just the game of improving your heuristics to discern what those things are, and to discern when you need to be like, yo, you haven't been thinking along the lines of like what's enjoyable, what's useful for this decision. So it's been a really, big up David Chapman and their excellent partner Charlie. It has been a really good kind of year of decisions based on like much more listening to the gut. So that's been pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think the post wokeness, look at me, I'm just like running my mouth now. The post wokeness was like, I was born as an adult, I mean, like from a very woke crowd, and we were all about like, right, okay, let's make this like really inclusive. And you know, being LGBTQ, that's like its own kettle of fish. Then we started looking at racism. Then we started looking at like financial disparity between people that could come to, like, I was running a lot of events in London. I was like, okay, how can we get the poor brown people here? Like, why is it lots of rich white people? And it's like, bitch, because you are one. And you know, there's like a like you're going to attract your crowd. You're going to have to put a bit more effort in than just being like, right, we're really inclusive. It's like, what does that even look like? And then it's in itself became, yeah, like these weird wars of I discovered this fabulous phrase of virtue signaling, and kind of being like, oh, our event is better because our policy on this, that, and the other is like more virtuous than yours. And I just found it really irritating, and I also found it unhelpful, and it was taking up time and energy from just being people and treating people like people. So yeah, I'm enjoying this kind of like, what is it to be post-woke? What is it to be post-feminist? Like, I'm getting excited. I'm gonna like wax my legs next week. You know, like me 5-10 years ago, I'd have been like, fuck the patriarchy. I'm gonna have a hairy cunt and a hairy legs. It's gonna be beautiful. I've got incredibly hairy armpits, but even those now I keep quite tamed, because like I've got a partner that is an artist, and they are very handy with the trimmers, so they get a very nice line going. It's all very streamlined and sporty spice, you know, like it's really nice to be post all the bullshit where you're like, okay, it's not punk, it's post, you know, we're not just going for the like, what's the antithesis, it's the beyond what we've been told to do. So so girls, if you want to shave your legs, go for it. That's my key takeaway from that tweet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a very thorough sort of no, really a great exploration of your relationship to, you know, meaningness and, you know, going beyond those ideas of culture.
Yeah.
You mentioned sort of with meaningness, you know, figuring out what's enjoyable, what's useful. Do you ever encounter situations where, you know, what's enjoyable and what's useful are in conflict, and how would you navigate sort of that trade-off?
I do, and it's the element of time. So it's like, what is useful now and what is useful to do for long-term gains. So I had a really fun one. I was big up Andre, NBKP. I was hanging out with them in Athens in December, but I basically had to like skip out on one of our like hangout dates because I got the mother of all UTIs. I was in so much pain. I was like, okay, I know we've met to hang out on the Acropolis, but I need to hobble back to the apartment and lie down with a hot water bottle. But it was really interesting because once I got the medicine, I had noticed that I wasn't in pain, but I was absolutely fucked, like properly post-ill fucked. I didn't have the energy to like, I didn't have any energy to go out for so much as a walk, you know, like standing up was a bit much, if I'm honest. I was like, oh, a cup of tea, or I'm gonna have to sit down for 2 hours. Like it was, and I had it, the being in pain for, you know, 5 days or so really drained me of any creative energy. So I wasn't like my usual, oh, I'm sitting down. Like, how would I like to spend my time? It's usually either moisturizing, frankly, or like doing some art. And I had no energy for either. I was like, I don't want to draw anything. But what I did find was like, a thing that was really enjoyable was to go really, really like, frankly, sedentary, which is unusual and something I'd like to cultivate a little bit more in my life. But it was to be, it was also to just do some financial admin. And like, it was really nice to be like, oh, I'm going to build that tool. Again, big up Victory Cast. This is all fully because of a conversation with them about like enjoy, be useful. But it was like, it would be enjoy, be useful to have a particular tool that allows me at a glance to figure out what I want to do next, and like whether I can afford it, rather than my usual method of like, I probably can, like I'll just pick up more work if I can't, or like, oh, I feel I've just been offered a load of work, I'll take it, whatever. And now I've got like a tool that kind of goes, actually now's a good time to pick up a bit extra work. What I'm getting at there is that like, it's the element of time. So it was like, okay, it was really enjoyable to do a long term, like it was to make a tool that's for long term, but if you'd given me the option and a healthy body, I would have been like, let's go for a run. Let's like go wander around a gallery. Let's go play in a park. Let's go meet some people in a cafe. Let's go like try some amazing new food. But it was a really fun, it was astonishing, I guess. And it was quite, it really struck me that I had such a good time, and I've got so many, enjoyable feelings out of having made that time. I'm going to stop opining about making spreadsheets because this is honestly, I'm still surprised that I'm happy about a spreadsheet.
Yeah, it's very off brand for you, but glad to hear it.
Thank you. I was trying.
Yeah, thank you for sharing all that. Yeah, next tweet.
Oh, God.
On May 24th, 2021, you tweeted, thinking about how I want to introduce you to my brother because he's a spurgy teddy bear and I love him with the force of a cosmic storm, but I talk too much horn dog content, so what do?
Ah. I'm still there, man. I've got this beautiful idea that like, I think I've really ramped back the horny, but every time I mention this to, a friend, they're like, no, bring the horn, keep bringing the horn. But I would love to introduce you guys to my dad and my brother, because like, they're basically just Autie. Also like I'm learning that Spurgy is no longer like a good name. We're opting for Autie, which I think is kind of pretty. So my brother and my father are autistic, and they are basically fucking Labrador good boys. They are just so smart and so good, and I love them so dearly. And there's like a real texture of like, how our whole community is like, well, I know Visa calls it like friendly ambitious nerds, but I'm like beautiful weirdos. So I would love to get my brother in on it. I had this we've like really had a revival of our friendship when I was like mid-20s. Our folks tended to kind of keep us apart because we didn't get on, and there was this whole rift about because my brother was autistic and they knew this, any passions of his they really encouraged, because they were so scared that he was not going to like get anywhere in life. He wouldn't be able to have a job, he wouldn't be able to have a girlfriend, or a boyfriend, or like he wouldn't be able to live alone. And so it's no shade on my folks, they were really trying their best. They're like, no, it means like you need to do your writing, you need to be like doing your reading, don't do any art, please, like that's your brother's thing. So there was no, so it's such a shame, because like we could have collaborated. We do Thunder Studios now, we like dick around and like make stuff and like make art and like make cool designs and stuff, but like we could have been doing that as kids and been learning how to play, but instead we were kind of like, we kept squabbling, so my parents were like, it's easy just to separate us. But in my 20s, I had like a huge bust up with my folks when I came out as bi, and my brother though was really solid. He kind of was just like, my mum kind of called him up and was like, did you know your sister's a lesbian? And he was like, so? And she was like, she was just like, this is not what I was ready for. But he was like, he just texted me and was like, yeah, it's all, how you doing? Like, mum's been a bit aggy, like, are you okay? And I was living with this like sick bunch of folks in West London. We had this warehouse, and it was LGBT polycule, like beautiful mess of a place. And I was pretty nervous, but I brought him over. It was like, okay, I haven't really met this guy outside the context, or like, the family scripts of like, okay, we're brother, we're sister, or like, brother, sibling. Like, we've got these two parents that are like a little bit overbearing. And like, I was like, oh, what if I took us completely out of that context? Like, who is this guy? Are they fun? Are they cool? Or are they a dick? And I honestly, like, I was quite worried. And Jess again was there like, it's okay, we won't judge you if your brother's a dickhead. And like just that line suddenly like really calmed me down. So then my brother comes over, and oh my god, the boy is salt of the earth. From like opening the door, like he turns up on his motorbike. Like, I'm a tall girl, like I'm 5'10" and built like a brick shit house. He's like a monster. He's like 6'2" and like double my size. He's huge, but like, and he's hairy as well, and wears these like really like aggy black big clothes. And like his opening gambit was to like be like, okay, who wants a hug? And just like scoops up two people in arms. And like, honestly, my best mate in the house, he elbowed me out of the way to get on this hug before I did. And I was like, okay, this is going very well. So he's exactly the kind of like, our community, I think, is just astonishing at like inviting people in and being like, cool man, like bring your weird, like what makes you like, what makes you excited, what could you show me, like what could we play with if you had like 2 minutes and no props, you know? Like I really admire that and like love cultivating that in our like, you know, this this part of Twitter. So I would love to bring him in, but yeah, there's still just a little bit too much. We've really like eased off it, but they're kind of like the hot girl or the horn chat has kind of like died down a bit, so it might soon be time. But yeah, there is a line where you're like, you just don't want to know about your big sister's like sex life or like, you know, me like slathering over some attractive bird on Twitter, because you know, like there's a line, and it's often a dot to me, but like like
That's so beautiful to hear about your brother. I'm so glad you guys have a very, intimate, heartwarming relationship. Yeah, sounds like a great guy.
It's cool though, because like it's just learning how to be humans, right? Because I think it's also taught me a lot about people, because he's autistic, and the narrative coming out of our folks and the literature is that like autistic people can't have relationships and they don't human, and it's all like a mess. And like the opposite is true. Like truly the opposite is true. That was quite a tautologist, and I apologize to all of our listeners. And like what's lovely is I mean, maybe I don't have anything profound to say about this, but I feel like he has been a really like establishing a relationship with him has been quite important, because I've also like just had a good way of seeing stuff from another person's perspective. And I guess in the kind of like learning about autism, it's like I can spot stuff on the horizon that's going to be tricky for Sam. So it's not, whoops, my brother. So I can be like, you know, so you can do the loving thing of fielding stuff. Like I don't mean like making his life frictionless, because that's my mother's remit. Like I mean just being like, okay, you can expect these things, so you can prep accordingly, which, you know, doesn't have to be anything to do with the autism. It can just be people like me. I love a heads up, and I know I'm neurodivergent, but I don't know in what direction. So like I love a heads up of what's going to happen, because like there's only so much surprise and like decision making I want in a day. So
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
just like little gestures of caring to, not baby your brother, but just show that you want to, make their time and their experience as enjoyable for them as possible.
Yeah, I think that was also like a really late, I'm just gonna like jump in one final bit here, because I'm just absolutely in love with my brother. It also occurred to me that our parents are going to be old one day, and like we're going to need to team up and be like, okay, what are we going to do about mummy and daddy? Like how do we look after them if I'm still like, you know, fucking buttfuck nowhere, or like not accessible? Like I need to be able to still participate in looking after the family, even if I'm not in the building or in the, you know, in the postcode and stuff. So it was just like, okay, let's also remember that we are a team, and that's been really fun. And I like to finally circle back, you know, with a turning point the size of France, like to like I think he would be a beautiful fit in the community, because I think we're like the like Teapot is really good at this, you know, in group and Teapot, whoever you are, like you include in all of this. So
Yeah, I definitely agree there. Okay. Yeah, thank you for sharing all that.
You're so welcome. Do you mean oversharing?
No. I enjoyed hearing all of that. Next tweet. On June 26th, 2021, you tweeted, I want to collab for an Art Club X Philosophy Bitch and Stitch Salon. Before I was a hot girl and horny on Maine, I used to chat shit with thoughtful souls on a Monday. I miss it.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I still do. This is Sylvia started doing art club, or I don't know what she called it, Sylvia Draws or something. And that was wicked, because it was like beautiful souls kind of coming around, and she would lead an art club, you know, a drawing session, and we would just chat or be quiet and listen to tunes. But yeah, Seeker 3003 used to do the Meaningless Book Club, and you know, I don't often do calls without a pen in my hand. So I would just be on that philosophy call, chime in occasionally, but it was mostly drawing, and really enjoyed feeling like, okay, what does meaningless look like when I'm not trying to draw it as pictures, I'm just trying to doodle it out. And I realized that you can participate in a conversation and you don't have to be the main player. you don't have to be the main participant in the noise making. You can just be like listening, and you're still welcome, you're still allowed there. Like, I don't know where probably my father, but I don't know where I got the idea that you had to be like knowledgeable on a subject. You had to like, you weren't allowed in the club or in the conversation so much as the conversation if you didn't have a lot of valuable things to bring. And you know, I'm 33, so that has been a long process of understanding you can't just turn up to a chat and be quiet. But like, it was particularly nice with the philosophy stuff, because I was like, okay, I feel very secure being here. But like, when I first arrived at this particular, this part of Twitter, because I also run around Adland, part of Twitter is with my professional front of me. Like, I noticed, or I just knew from the get-go that I struggle with reading. I find like words move around on a page for me. So I have to like, things like the reading club are wicked, because like you literally read was on the screen, and it was being read aloud as well. But like, I haven't read Nietzsche. I have not read like Henry Thoreau. I'm never going to. What I'm more likely to do is maybe listen to it on an audiobook. What I'm even more likely to do is sit with my chin rests and it like propped up on my like hands, being like, really, tell me more, by like a knowledgeable friend that is there, just wants to opine on a subject. Like, that's my favorite. Like, I did really well in all the lectures at university, because I was just like, I just got to listen to my professors opining on their favorite subject. Like, honestly, there's nothing better in that context. So yeah, like combining it with art club, where like just gentle souls kind of like move a pen around a page. And I love teaching art. Like, honestly, like I'm branching into teaching like somatic like movement stuff now, but teaching art and just helping like lovely people just be like, oh, I just doodle. Oh no, I don't really draw. And it's like, I don't believe that for a second. Like, what you're telling me, you definitely don't have a pen in your hand when you're on the phone call. No, most people are. So like, that's your starting point. But combining that with then like a quiet, like being quiet while like interesting, knowledgeable souls chat on a topic is, I think, like a dreamy way to spend some like sitting down time. So that's my pitch. And if anyone's in for it, give me a shout. I would so happily facilitate that. I think it's like, I wanted to team up with someone because I found this when I was DJing. Like, I had all these ideas for like how to craft a whole party, but you have to do like, parties are a thing that are done by teams, and I can't do all of it. Like, I can't like do the kind of the, if you want to do some dance choreo, or you want to do something like fun and theatrical, but like also DJ, like you just can't all do it as one. And I was like, I can't do leading the philosophy chat as well as teaching the art. So I was like, I was doing a really lazy, like, is anyone into this idea? Do you want to like team up? And like, I don't actually know if we did it. I don't know, like, I'd certainly started hanging out a lot with Bird of Play, and we did I did quite a few spaces, but I did a lot of reading of like thoughtful stuff. But because I was reading and hosting a space, I wasn't doing any drawing. So there we go. That's my pitch. Do you want to
come? Yeah, it sounds amazing. Yeah, and even as far as trading off, I don't know as much about philosophy as this person. To me, put any two people together, each person's going to have, skills and knowledge that the other person doesn't. So everyone has something to share. And it's not a matter of like, oh, I'm less than them. It's just we have different experiences, different specialties. So it's always great to, share that with each other.
Yeah. I get really strong imposter syndrome as well. So in some areas, not all, but like I can get a real sense of like, oh, there's no way you're going to be allowed to do this because you haven't read all the kind of background material. And like a lot of the like post rats have come through via being rats, and there's like a whole website called Less Wrong that's got a lot of content on it, and I don't think I've even gone on the website, and I don't think I'm ever going to, because it's just like, it's a lot of words. Like, I love words, but like reading them on a screen is a nightmare. So it's just not going to happen. So make friends with smart people. That's my strategy.
Yeah, and there's even, huge value and utility in just asking the quotes more knowledgeable person, what does that mean? How does this apply in your life? Just probing them for getting deeper into their understanding to help you understand better. It's a nice, good feedback loop there.
Who's your favorite philosopher?
Yikes. Kant? That just sounds like me just saying the first philosopher I know, though. I don't think I have one. Who's yours?
I realized as I was asking that, I was going to get this bounce back in my face. So I know David like really fervently rejects this, but I think David Chapman and Charlie Aubrey on Twitter, they are like some of the most beautiful philosophical minds. Yeah, I guess Chapman is like published on the subject, and I haven't read any of the others. What I have though, I found a right. So again, this chick, Seeker 3003, she taught me most of what I know about philosophy, but there was often kind of gaps where I was like, hang on, there's a lot here that I just don't know. So I bought a book called Philosophy, a platypus walks into a bar, and it tells a joke of like someone walks into a bar and something happens, and like each chapter approaches that joke with like different disciplines of philosophy. So, and I can't remember any of them, but I have the gist now. But it was such a good book because I fucking love jokes, and like and like just reading that book, I was like, oh, this is the first philosophy text where I'm not going like, come again, I don't even know what that word means. So yeah, there we are.
Great answer. What is the name of that?
Look at this pack of sound kids. What else you got in there?
Oh, you'd appreciate this one.
Way.
Very Chad animal sound.
Yeah. Feels quite Sporty Spice. Like, I mean, everything feels Sporty Spice to me.
Nina, that was the last tweet I had for you.
Was it?
Yeah, before we wrap up here, I just have one final question, which is, you've gone into this a bit throughout our conversation here, but what have been your favorite parts of your Twitter experience?
Oh, my favorite. Oh, what a juicy question. One of my favorite parts has been that I have got a crew of friendly weirdos at any time of day and night. Doesn't matter where I am to chat to. That's been absolutely wonderful. Like, I don't have a sleep problem, but I do find that sometimes in the middle of the night I'm just wide awake, and it's like previously, and especially when I was in Britain, that would stress me out because like the only option really was to be like in bed and being quiet, because otherwise you're going to interrupt people, or it's too dark and cold to go outside. But in Lisbon it was awesome because it was just go for a walk, and I would regularly just be like, right, who's up, who wants to chat? But it just introduced me to people that I would never have got to meet. Like, I would never have known that Barbie was like gas station Barbie was alive in the world, and like she is now someone that come vibe cab, I am like so like almost a bit gross with how excited I am to catch up with her and be like, girl, come here, like let's have a cuddle. Like, I'm so excited to like see her, and like yeah, like oh yeah, of course. And like I've met some folks in Lisbon that because of Twitter, and now like big up like Puppy Spice, like George is one of my dearest friends. Like whenever I catch that bear awake at some ungodly hour, like I'm just so excited to see them and chat to them. Yeah, big up Rival. I absolutely love catching up with them in Lisbon because they are they are a delight. Yeah, so I've made friends. There's some other texture to it though. There's also just an opportunity to like, it's a great opportunity to play. Like, people are just up for shit. Like who was it? Like the CEO of Ingrid, what's he called? Like Tim was just like, oh, what if we did Twitter but like with video? So it's really inaccessible. You can only play if you're like, you can read on a screen and whatever. You can't search any of it. But there was just a thread one day where we just fucked around sending little videos of like pissing around wherever we were and what we're getting up to, and like how can you do it without like doxing yourself? Like it's just really silly and really fun. So yeah, like I really enjoy how I've just tapped into this like community of people that are basically all read improv and like have all done their clown training. But there is something else, but obviously I'm talking a million miles, so I can't quite reach it. But I think we've tapped into something quite special. It's nice to not feel quite so alone in my desire to be like, okay, what does the commune look like, full of like smart, interesting people that also pull their socks up when the dishes need doing.
What a delightful turn of phrase. Yeah, I love those random, incredibly creative threads that just invite you to just have fun in the replies. Those are always so much fun.
I try and think of them. I love it's really nice to be struck with like, oh, I wonder what would happen if I put this out. And I do notice that sometimes I've put things out and I'm encouraging ideas and like, yeah, for it to like, you know, of course everyone wants to be like the next like viral tweet around Teapot, but like, it's like it's fun just the habit being like, oh, what about this idea, like, and putting it up and seeing if someone goes, people kind of go on it. I think I need to be better with tagging, and I'm really bad with like, I don't like people's stuff, like I don't use the like function, and I just rarely tag people, so I probably like I've got really bad engagement numbers for it, but yeah, it's a good playground.
Absolutely. Nina, thank you so much again for taking the time to talk with me today. It was a lot of
It has
fun.
been a pleasure. Thank you so much. It's been my first podcast and I've had a great time and I'm so moisturized.
Yeah, same here, at least in the face. Yeah, all right. Have a great rest of your day.
Sick. All right, blessings.
Yeah, take care.